So stay tuned. But again, as I said, oh my gosh. Hi book friends, welcome back to Books and Tea Time. If you watched last week's video, you'll know that last week I participated in the reading rush. And even though I did pretty good, I didn't finish all the books on my TBR. So part of my goals for this week is to finish the books that I started or wanted to read last week. But also I'm kind of in a place right now where I want to read like 15 books at once, so I'm just gonna fly through a couple that I'm interested in reading and potentially will pick up this week, but I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna get to all of these, so let's just jump in. First things first, I started Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha and Ngan last week. I'm currently 120 pages in, so this is going to be first priority, is to finish this, and I think that I can finish it quickly. I'm really flying through this book. It is a South Asian inspired fantasy, and we are following a young girl named Lei, but she is chosen to be a paper girl for the king, which is essentially a concubine, and she is chosen, or she is taken against her will from her family home. And I'm assuming a lot of political drama and things are gonna unfurl from here, but I'm not too far into the book, so I don't know what else to say about it. But really enjoying it so far, and this is gonna definitely be top pick for the week. I am currently reading the ebook for The Legendary Shiver by J.H. MacAl. I am, I think, like 40 pages into the ebook for that. So that's the other book I'm in the middle of right now. And I will also link the Instagram and Goodreads page for the author down below if you're interested in checking the book out. But the next thing is I had planned to read the Iliad last week as part of the reading rush, and this is one of the classics on my classics TBR, the Iliad and the Odyssey, so I think that I'm still gonna plan to try and read the Iliad this week if I'm in the mood for it. Also, if I don't pick up the Iliad, I really want to read The Shining by Stephen King. I finished The Stand by Stephen King last week, and this is significantly shorter and a little more on the horror side, and I have been trying to read a little more Stephen King because one of my favorite YouTubers, Noel Gallagher, loves Stephen King, and I really enjoyed his Dark Tower series, so I'm trying some of his standalones. Essentially, that's the goal. I have seen the movie for The Shining, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to read this quickly because I'll be more familiar with what's going on than I was with The Stand. But if I don't pick up the Iliad, I'll probably pick up this instead as my next like fiction book after I finish Girls of Paper and Fire. Last but not least, it's getting close to August, and in the fall I am TAing for a class called Austen and Bronte. Let's just take a minute to recognize the beauty and the amazingness of Austen and the Brontes. So in order to prepare myself for becoming a TA, I am going to be reading Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and then I'm also reading Emma by Jane Austen before the semester, but I'm starting with Sense and Sensibility. I also have this edition that I got as a gift, but we use the Broadview editions for this particular class. The professor requires the Broadview editions, and I love Broadview editions. I have a whole stack of them over there on my bookshelf from classes that I've taken with this professor. In order to prepare myself for becoming a TA, I am going to read these, but also because I want to read all of Austen's novels and I'm halfway there, I have to read Sense and Sensibility, Emma, and Persuasion. I've already read Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey, and what's the other one? Oh, Mansfield Park. That one was rough. I have literally no idea what it's about. Let's read the back. This story concerns two sisters, the level-headed Eleanor and the passionate and impulsive Marianne. When their father dies, his son, by a previous marriage, assumes possession of the family home. Marianne and Eleanor, left to the care of their mercenary brother John and his wife Fanny, must move to a cottage with their mother. Each sister meets a man with whom she's interested, and as with other Austen novels, requited love does not come easily. That's interesting. Super cute. I love Pride and Prejudice. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and I just find Austen's writing so cozy and comfy. I just get so happy when I read an Austen novel, just like the ambiance and her writing. I really enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to picking this bad boy up. Lots of options, but not really sure where we're gonna go with it. As I said, we're starting with Girls of Paper and Fire, and then we will just branch out from there and see what happens. Hello. I have incredibly big hair right now and I can't stop looking at it and fiddling with it. But we're not here to talk about my hair. We're here to talk about a mini book haul. So I purchased the remainder of books that I need for the semester because I'm starting school in I think 3 weeks. So I'm starting my final semester, or my final year of undergrad, in late August, and I bought the rest of the texts that I needed for my English classes. I already had books for one of my classes, and then 2 of the classes that I'm taking don't need books, so these are only the books for the 2 remaining classes that I'm taking. But in addition to buying the books that I needed for my classes, I bought 1 book for myself because I couldn't find it in any of the used bookstores or at Barnes & Noble, and I've been really wanting it, so I'll just show that one off first. I purchased A Dream So Dark by L.L. McKinney. This is the 2nd book in the Nightmareverse trilogy. I used to think it was a duology, but it is a trilogy, and the 3rd book comes out next year, I think in April or sometime in the spring. This is an urban fantasy Alice in Wonderland retelling. It's incredible. The main character is so spunky and sarcastic and powerful, and I love her. And the 1st book kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger, so I'm so excited to get back into this world. And I mean, the cover is just stunning. Like, look at that. She's got a freaking sword. Who wouldn't want to read this book? So I picked up 1 book for my medieval class. I'm taking a class on medieval literature this semester. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. But anyway, apparently our professor is teaching us how to read Middle English, which is going to be a time. But the main text that we're working with is Piers' Plowman. I have never heard of this until he sent us an email about it. It's by William Langland. It's a very strange shape. It's a very tall book and very flimsy. So interesting, and look at how tiny the words are. I have a feeling this is going to be the bane of my existence, but hopefully not. And then these next 3 are all for a class I'm taking about romanticism, which I'm so pumped for because I'm in the middle of a research project. My senior honors thesis research project is all about Lord Byron, who's a romantic poet. I'll insert a fun picture of him here if you're interested. He's a weird dude, and I love writing about how weird he is. First, I got Songs of Experience and Songs of Innocence by William Blake. These are incredibly short, really oddly shaped. Again, I don't know why I have so many oddly shaped books, but I do. And these are the color plates. So they have these images of engravings, and then at the very end is a translation of what the engravings say. I know very little about William Blake, but I guess he engraved these himself according to the back. I'm interested to learn more about Blake. I don't know a lot about him, but in my Byron research I've come across a lot of references to Blake, so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to take this class, is to familiarize myself with some other romantic poets. Finally, oh my god, this thing weighs a ton. So I got the Norton Anthology of English Literature Volume 2, and I think this is now the longest book that I own. This is 3,000 pages, over 3,000 pages. It's so heavy. I mean, look at this. What the heck? I thought reading The Stand was bad. This is The Stand, right here. Obviously, I don't have to read this entire thing. That would be psychotic. I will drop the class if he says we're reading the entire thing. Another book that is on the list for my romanticism class is Frankenstein, but I already own Frankenstein, so I'll show you. This is my copy of Frankenstein. I have the second Norton Critical edition of Frankenstein. I've read this twice already in my lifetime, so I'm so pumped to be reading it for a third time. Frankenstein is one of my favorite books of all time. As you can see, this copy is well loved. If you haven't read this and you're wanting to read classics or get into classics, I highly recommend. The beginning drags a tiny bit. Well, once you get past like the letters part, and when you start reading it, you'll know what I mean, and you get to Victor Frankenstein's perspective, it really picks up. That's my mini haul for you guys. I also have to confess that I am kind of in a reading slump. Not really, because I'm reading like 5 books right now, but I'm just in a place where I think I pushed myself so hard to read so much last week that I'm really just not in the mood to read. So I've been watching a lot of booktube videos, reading vlogs, and like book recommendation videos to try and get myself feeling motivated and pumped. So if you're feeling the same way, hopefully we can get through this together. But I am going to sit down right now and read a little bit of Girls of Paper and Fire. I'm interested in the story. I just feel like every time I sit down to read it at night, I fall asleep because I'm tired. So I want to read it a little bit during the daytime so that I don't pass out in the middle of it. I spent a lot of this morning working on my research project. I have a meeting with my like professor slash mentor for my project on Friday. So I'm trying to get prepared for that meeting and get stuff ready because I have a lot of little tedious things that I need to do to work on this project. So I'm gonna read for a little bit, work a little bit more, and then probably watch some TV later. I am currently on season 2 of Hunter x Hunter, by the way. If you watch Hunter x Hunter, comment down below who your favorite character is. I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the characters. My favorite character is Killua. I have a picture of him. I think he is the cutest little thing in the world, and I love that he's like so devious and like I just love it. So you should watch the show. It's so good. Once the semester starts, I can do a video about the classes that I'm taking, or like when it gets closer to the semester. So if you guys are interested in knowing like the themes of my classes or like what classes I'm taking and like more content about being an undergraduate English literature student, let me know in the comments because I would definitely love to talk about it. Hey guys, it's Thursday afternoon. Just a couple updates. I'm still feeling the reading slump a little bit. I have passed the halfway point of Girls of Paper and Fire, and things are definitely heating up. I just feel like I am so easily distracted right now. I don't know what it is. I think half of it is that I pushed myself really hard to read last week during the reading rush, but also half of it is that I have a lot of stuff to work on over the next few weeks for my research project before I start school again, and just like preparing for school and everything. I think I really want to do nothing because I know that the time of not having classes worth of like 5 classes worth of work to do is coming to an end, and I'm just a little bit stressed out about that. I read the first 4 chapters of Sense and Sensibility plus the introduction, because one of the reasons we use the Broadview editions is for the introductions and like the appendices materials that the editors put together, which is really fantastic. I also am on chapter 5 or 6 of the legendary Shiver on my ebook, and I realized that in the original intro clip I didn't really tell you guys what that was about. So the legendary Shiver by J.H. MacAl is about an up-and-coming singer, and like the first scene or like the first chapter is her meeting the narrator, who is our main character. His name's Will. He is a Brazilian American boy, and they both go to school in Texas, and they meet in their senior year of high school. And then basically we're tracking the female protagonist, or like the female main character, as she grows to fame as a singer, but we're tracking her progress in her life through her best friend Will, who is our narrator, as I said. So that's really interesting. I don't read a lot of romance, as I've said before, so I don't know really how to compare it to other romances, because really the only reference I have right now is Call Me By Your Name, and they're two different, very different books. But right now I am headed to Target to get some stuff to meal prep for the weekend and the beginning of next week. I started trying to meal prep in the hopes of getting my like eating habits and like fitness in order. So I'm going to get ingredients for that, and then I have just a couple odds and ends to pick up. Also, I have my Jane Austen socks on today. Aha, there you guys go. They're Pride and Prejudice socks, and they have words from the book on them, and I just love them. They're so cute. Like, my dad got them as a gift for Christmas. My dad got me them for Christmas a couple years ago, and I just love them. I think they're so cute. I'm gonna go to Target, then make dinner, consume dinner, probably watch a lot of Hunter x Hunter, and avoid doing work. Meal prep, meal number 1 done.
These have to be you.
I'm in the middle of vlogging.
Tail on. Do you want these to be tailless? Take all these tails off.
Okay, fine. All right. Anyway, so we're done meal prepping. Yes. We're done meal prepping. Meal 1, it's teriyaki chicken, rice, and broccoli, as you can see. I'm doing 3 of these, and then we're doing 3. Could you turn that off, please? We're doing 3 chipotle shrimp. And we've been at this for hours. The kitchen's such a mess. It's a disaster, but it's going great. Second meal prepped and ready to eat tomorrow. We've got the chipotle shrimp, some peppers and corn, and then cauliflower rice. We did it.
We did it.
Yeah. Hello. It's Saturday. I want to come on and firstly say that I'm sorry this video is kind of boring. I feel like this week has been boring for me, so I'm assuming that it's translating as boring for you guys as well, but I hope that I can get some interesting content out of this for you guys. I've just been doing a lot of like tedious research work. I'm submitting an excerpt from my research paper to an undergraduate journal, and I've been doing a lot of the editing and like the little things to get that prepped, and then also just realizing that I have about 2 weeks before I go back to school, and trying to get everything that I wanted to get done in the summer finished and wrapped up, and also freaking out that I'm starting school in 2 weeks. And with all of the uncertainties, I'm just like, I don't know what classes are going to be 100% online, what classes are going to try and do some in person, and like how that works, and it's just stressful. So anyway, we're going to avoid those problems and do a book review, because even though I have also been in a reading slump this week, let's just call it what it is, I've barely read it all. I just finished Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha and Ngan, and first and foremost, I just want to appreciate, I just put the dust jacket back on because I was reading it without the dust jacket on, and it's just so gorgeous. I mean, like, look at that. So I'm going to give you guys my review breakdown, Adeline's review breakdown for Girls of Paper and Fire, so we can have some content for this week. Yeah. First things first, I gave this entire book a 4-star. It's hovering between like 3.75 and 4 stars, but I was thinking about other books that I've rated 3.75 recently, and I was like, I enjoyed this like a little bit more, but I was hesitant to give it a solid 4. But anyway, it's in that range. It was really enjoyable. I did like it, and I do recommend it if you're into fantasy. It's really wonderfully done. But let's talk about some of the specifics. The category characters, I gave a 4 out of 5 because I really did like the characters. I especially liked one of the main characters. So our main character is Lay, and she is taken from her home and forced to become a concubine to the king, and every year the kingdom and like the families and the clans offer 8 paper caste girls, which are like the human lower class in the hierarchy and the caste system in this world, and they offer them to the king, who is like the highest class, which is moon caste. The moon caste is 100% demon. That is the caste that the king is from, and then there's one in the middle called steel caste that is a hybrid of human and demon. I really liked the main character, and there is a female romance between the main character and one of the other paper girls, and I really like the character who is Lay's love interest. I don't want to spoil it because, I mean, you do find out very quickly who it is that she's in love with, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I really love her love interest, Lay's love interest, and their romance is so sweet and endearing. It's not as steamy as like a romance, a YA or adult romance usually is. It's definitely very elegant, and the way that it's written leaves a lot to the imagination, which I didn't hate that. There are some scenes that are very intimate and spicy between them. Milo just came in my room. What do you want? Do you want to talk about books with me? And he's on my bed. Hey guys. And he's gone. Anyway, as I was saying, I really enjoy Lay's love interest and their romance. It's very sweet, it's endearing, it's a little bit of a slow burn at first, but their romance and what their romance means to them in terms of how it gets them through all the difficulties that they're facing and the traumas that they're dealing with as these women who are essentially sex slaves to the king. They really rely on each other, and that's really beautiful. So I did really like the romance. World and plot, I gave a 3 out of 5 because I really loved the world. I loved the caste system, the political drama, and the unique magic system. We have a very detailed map, and the author really utilizes the map in referencing different places and different clans and alliances. So I really did enjoy that. The only thing is I don't know how I'm confused by the ending. The ending is like really good, it leaves us off on a cliffhanger. There's this moment, and then the very last page, I read it and I was just like, what? So I'm interested to see what happens in the second one. I do want to pick up the second one soon. I don't know what the second one is called. I'll put a picture of the second one up on the screen. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but I do think that it was released recently. So I do want to read the second one. Also, even though I was entertained the whole time, I just felt like I want a little more. But again, it's the first book in a fantasy series, and I feel like that happens a lot, is that you're just overwhelmed by world building and character development and trying to understand what's going on with the plot. Similarly, entertainment value, I gave a 3 out of 5, again for that reason that for me, I was entertained at some parts, but then at other parts I was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it takes a little while to get going. It's a little bit of a slow burn. Intellectual value, I gave a 4 out of 5. I really loved the South Asian inspired fantasy story and the discussion of like caste systems and how power is represented and the nuances of power and how to sort of find power in the position that you have and use that to get you into a real position of power, if that makes sense. Also, we have female romance, like I said. There's great representation in this book, and it made me think a little bit. Timelessness, I gave a 3 out of 5. I don't necessarily think that I would reread this again, but it's a really good book. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about Timelessness. And then my bias, I again gave a 3 out of 5 because I really loved the uniqueness of the story, the perspective and the setting that is inspired by Southern Asia. I loved that, but again, I was a little confused and off-put by the ending. That last page just kind of, I feel like it unravels a lot of the events that happen in the last like 50 to 100 pages of the story, and it kind of makes it seem pointless, and to me that kind of made me mad, but also I could see where the author is going with it and how that she can use the ending in the next couple of books. That's my first book done for the week. I'm not super proud of it, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm also, I could, not have finished anything. I am still only on chapter 5 of Sense and Sensibility. I am currently on page 90 of the legendary Shiver, I think, 90 to 100. I'm enjoying the legendary Shiver for the most part, and I'm not crazy about the pacing. I feel like things are very, very rushed, but again, I'm only like halfway done with it, so I don't want to jump to too many conclusions about the text's potential until I finish it. So I'll give you my final thoughts. I am probably gonna sit down and either read more Sense and Sensibility right now or read a little bit of the legendary Shiver. I don't know if I mentioned this actually, but the author J.H. MacAl of legendary Shiver reached out to me on Instagram and asked me to review the book and talk about it, and of course I was excited to read and support a up-and-coming author. He's also a queer Brazilian American author. Also, I tried my first meal prep meal. I tried that the Chipotle shrimp one, and it was really, really good. I did like it. So meal prepping was a success so far anyway. I have a feeling I'm gonna get bored eating the same thing every day, but in the name of health, I suppose I can do it. Happy Saturday, everybody, and happy August. It's August 1st today. It's the end of the reading vlog, and it's time for me to tell you how much I read, which was better than I thought. I ended up with 550 pages read this week, which I think is pretty average for me. I talked about this at the end of last week's, but I think like 400 to 500 pages is pretty average for what I read in a week, if I'm not pushing myself or doing a reading challenge, or if I'm not just like being a reading freak and just reading a bunch. So I thought that I was doing really, really poorly this week, but I did finish one whole book. I finished Girls of Paper and Fire, which you saw my review in the previous clip. I really enjoyed this. I was looking forward to it ever since I hauled it, and I'm looking forward to the second one. I also reached the 11th chapter, the 80-page mark of Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Again, just reading this to prep for being a TA, and it's interesting so far. I'm pretty close to finishing. I'm like 60% of the way through the legendary Shiver, and I'm definitely gonna finish that next week, early next week in the next vlog. So if you want to hear my final thoughts and rating on that book, that will be in next week's vlog. But yeah, as I said, I'm like 60% of the way through the ebook. I didn't finish a lot of books this week. This week was kind of just starting a bunch of new books and trying to get navigate myself out of this reading slump, but it was a pretty good week. I think overall 550 pages is really good. Let me know if there's anything you want me to do to spice up these vlogs, if there's anything you want me to include in them, any requests for things that you want me to talk about, whether it's college, lifestyle stuff, channel related questions, just questions about me, anything you want me to include. As always, comment down below and let me know. Thanks for watching this week's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Bye guys.